All right. I think we got something going there. Welcome everyone to Workshop Wednesday again, because we are doing something new, something different. As with most Workshop Wednesdays, we are making Satranj, which you may have never heard of. I certainly did not until I started researching this. Satranj is an ancient version of chess. It's not, I'm not sure actually whether it is an ancestor of our chess or whether it was another branch off of that tree. But it is for lack of a better term, a simplified version of chess in terms of the number of pieces and the size of the board. It's a 6x5 board with a total of 10 pieces on each side. So you have king, queen, bishop, rook, knight. Just those five. And then 5 pawns. And then, I guess, 2 rows. Pawns and the other players, royals. So it's a kind of an interesting variation, and it allows you to make a kind of a simpler board. So what I'm going to do is, and I'm not sure if we'll get it all done tonight, because there's a fair number of pieces to it, both in terms of like playing pieces and also in terms of what we have to do here. So the various things I'm going to do is I found at my local arts and crafts store these wooden pieces that are, essentially Scrabble pieces. I guess they would be replacement Scrabble pieces if you needed them. And I'm going to turn these into tokens for that, essentially playing pieces. And I have here a whole bunch of representations of various, classic pieces in chess. I'm going to glue them onto these after I paint them. So I think I'm going to have 20 red and 20 black backgrounds within these white things on them. And I'll just make, 40 tokens. And that's going to take a while. So basically, I'm going to paint 20 of these red, 20 of them black, and put the white tokens on each of them, which I think will look interesting. Obviously, I could paint, them all black, all white, whatever. But I think it'll be, again, a kind of interesting visual thing. Then for the board, actually, instead of doing a wooden board, I'm going to do it and make it out of fabric. And so the idea is, hey, Solid Company, hey, Gorilla, doing well. Looking forward to this project. So the board is going to be a piece of this, I think, imitation leather that I'm going to actually sew lines of white thread on. So it's not actually going to be sewed to anything. It's going to be lines of white thread in a grid pattern, and that'll be basically the board. And then basically, and I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work out, but the idea is you put all the pieces, so you flip over the board, put all the pieces in the center, and roll it up, and then carry your board and your pieces as almost a satchel of this leather. So again, don't know how it's all going to come out, but that's the basic idea. So we're going to start with the pieces, partly because those need to dry. So basically, we need a bunch of these painted. So what I'm going to do, start off with is, I know I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to do 1 extra on each, just in case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 extra. I was thinking about trying to do, find R's and use them for the rooks and so forth, but I'm sure I'm not going to have 10, P's for pawns. So, wouldn't work, unfortunately. So that's fine. Yeah, there are 60 pieces in here, so I have plenty left over. So, let's start there. Actually, I think I'm going to have, what I'm going to do, what I might also do, it would be kind of fun to have, to paint just the surface and then keep the wood on the edges. That might look nice. And I can always paint the edges if I want to. Let me grab a glove. And in fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take another piece of newspaper here. It's actually a local class list. So, local education classes. How are you all doing tonight, by the way? So we're going to see how these gloves work. Actually, it's a new box. I haven't used this manufacturer before, so we'll see. This is a good size. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So here's this, and then let's just start with a red, I think. And we're just gonna paint down. I have a fair amount of red there. I'm going with a sort of a medium-sized brush in terms of this scale. So there's the size of the brush. I could go for a really big brush and then just slather it on, but it's gonna be a little hard to get that into there. I might do that for the black. We'll see. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start just doing this. So there's our first piece. And like I said, I'm not going to do the sides. I'm just going to see what that looks like. I'm trying to hold that by the corners. Obviously, this is a little time consuming. I could like spray paint these. But that would also take time. I'm not sure. There's a little bit of a, there. I'm actually going to go back over these when I put them off to the side. Because where my fingers touch them, you don't get any paint. So the corners need a little bit of extra help there when I put them down. And I'm putting these over to the side because otherwise I would kind of fill up my workspace with these pieces. This might end up being a Christmas gift. That'd be kind of nice, I think. So let's try to get these kind of lined up over here. Maybe not. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, sorry. A long day at work, Gorilla. I hear that. I was not feeling well this morning. Went into work anyway. Ended up, I'm glad I did, but I didn't get much work done. But we had some meetings, and when you're not feeling great, but you're feeling all right enough to kind of, be around. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? Well, no. Yeah. I think it's better to go into work and at least make your face be known and be seen instead of just, always being gone. This doesn't look as good if you're constantly disappearing. Okay. This is going a little faster than I thought. I'm trying not to overload the brush with red paint. So you can see, I don't need much. And just get those in. So we'll do the reds and the blacks, and hopefully by the time I painted the black pieces, the reds will be dry enough that I can glue to them. I do not know. Don't know if that will hold. We'll find out. Just need a bit more there. I actually haven't used, this is just straight up like craft store acrylic paint. So I don't know how quickly this dries. I really only used it on painting 3D printed miniatures. And in that case, it's dried pretty fast. And I'm figuring, since plastic isn't very porous in the painting sense, hopefully that means that I'm good there. I don't have enough of these tiles. I must have miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I got like 11 here. I need 21. Silly. Okay. Okay, so there's, That's strange. So 1, 2, 3. So I've got 10 over here. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. Okay, good. That's 21. I do not have an overbearing manager. I am lucky enough. I work with actually really awesome people. In fact, we had a meeting today. Our monthly kind of all team get together, which is an opportunity for us all to, share any major news going on. And part of that was celebrating success. So people went around and talked about what's going well and kind of complimented each other. on who's doing good stuff. That was really nice. Got some, people saying really nice things about each other. And in general, things at work are going well. I mean, it's tiring. It's always there's always a lot to do, especially as I tend to be kind of the background guy, getting a lot of the things done that need to get done but aren't sexy or exciting. And like people know that it's not like I get it's not like people assume that I'm not doing anything, but it's just not the kind of thing that gets a lot of direct kudos, people coming up and saying, hey, thanks so much for running that meeting. So it was nice having an opportunity to with folks hear them say thank you for running that meeting. And everyone else is good. We have a variety of personalities, but I'm generally happy to work with those folks, which is always a good feeling. Yeah, I've definitely gone on interviews though, where I got a weird vibe from the people. And I was like, I don't know that I want to work for you. Just So I've kind of dodged that bullet, I think, a few times in like the interview process and such. I'm full time. I work at Capital One, the big credit card company, and like general. I mean, it's a bank, but most known for credit cards. I help run a software developer boot camp. So basically, helping their software developers, or helping a bunch of incoming software developers learn how to code and how to, not let all of your financial information get stolen by hackers, which I think is a pretty useful, important thing. Okay. One of the, I'm going to do one more because one of these has a really, so every so often you get one with a really rough back, like it was torn to pieces or something, and one of these tokens looks like that when I painted it, so I'm going to grab an extra one from over here. Well, actually, see, now I got red on it, so I got to do that. And I'm going to do another token there, because that one's just not going to look good. Do I need, maybe I'm wrong. I only need 10 per side, don't I? But 10, yeah, okay. I only need 10 pieces per side. So yeah, I went overboard there. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah. All right, no, we're fine. I mean, I have more than I need, but that's okay. 3, 4. So that's 10, so that's 11. Okay. Great. Oopsie. So let's go ahead and put that away, and then we'll move over to the black. I have a bunch of red pieces, so just so you know. Now over here I've got all these nice red pieces that are drying over here. And they seem to be drying, pretty quickly. There's our black, so we need this. And I'll clean this brush in a minute, but meanwhile, I'm going to switch over to another brush. It looks like I have another brush that is out. Yeah, they've had a sweaty hand now, so the next one doesn't go on quite as easily, because your hand does tend to sweat in these things. So I note over here I have, this guy's got it's a decent size brush. Again, I don't think I want to go with the really big brush, because that'll just slather, it'll goop all over the place. Let me see if I can pull up. Let's see. There we go. It's a slightly blurry picture, I think. But let me see if I can just show you here real quick. Downloads. So that's what I'm trying to make. roughly speaking, in terms of the overall sort of scale. This is going to be interesting. Very hard to tell where the paint is in a uh, black pot of black paint. Obviously, I could squeeze some out or dump some out, but that's feels a little unnecessary. All right, so there's our first, and I think I'm going to put this. I'm going to have to put it down here, basically, and just try to get that edge. There we are. So yeah, I've never played Indian chess before, but I saw this Instructable, and I was like, this will be a fun project. And it's it's achievable. It's not like I'm trying to hand lathe, a full chess set or anything. I already got a little bit of paint on my finger. That is sort of inevitable. And I find, unfortunately, I cannot paint with both hands gloved. I just lose all of the the dexterity, if you will, in my dominant hand. Although maybe that's something for me to experiment with, try to get better at. I don't know. Get that little bit on those ends taken care of. Again, that's where my fingers were. So those tend to not get all the paint. Let's get this down. One of the things you learn as you paint is kind of how much paint to get on the brush, because you don't want so much that you got it gooping everywhere. You don't want so little that it takes 10 minutes just to get all the paint down. And again, it's very hard when you can't see into your jar of paint. There we are. So fortunately, I mean, it's not like your thing will be ruined if you're doing one or the other. You're not going to hurt yourself one way or the other. But it is a nice thing to get used to, kind of how much paint you're going to need. And part of that is just looking on the brush. So I don't know if it's going to focus in on that. But basically, so there's a fair amount of paint on this brush. And so I know I'm just going to goop on down. You can always brush some off on your pot or on some other part of the scratch work surface, if you will. And then you're trying to do this to the point where you don't have any obvious lines. So if you have lines on there, then that means you had too much paint. And you just want to brush those off. It's not a problem. It's not going to destroy anything. But it's a good place to start. Have any of you guys played chess? Many of you actually done that? I've realized over time, chess is one of those games that I think everyone's heard of, but not everyone's played. It used to be pretty much every house had a chess set. And so, or I wouldn't say every house, but lots of houses had chess sets. But I think it's not as universal of a game as it used to be, in terms of folks having practical gameplay experience with it. Kind of interesting how things change. Okay. Yeah, those are drying out pretty well. So I think we can definitely glue down the reds here. There we go. Almost done with these blacks. These have gone pretty quickly. So maybe 20 minutes to paint out all these pieces, including all the extras. Whoops, got some black on me. Including all those extra reds. So it'd probably be 15 if I were, more on the ball. Okay, got a bit too much on there. Pull that off. There we are. Okay. One more for luck. And then I'll probably take a quick break and wash these brushes before we have any problems with that. I don't want my brushes to dry out. That would kind of stink. A little bit of extra there. All right, I'm happy with that. Let me see if I can pick up. Yeah, so this is one of the first ones I did. Oh, there's some. Yeah, is that new? Yeah. 1 second. Let me. Okay. Good. That's pretty much dry. So there's one of the ones I put on. I painted in red. That's pretty good. Pretty even. Want to play chess like twice? Yeah, I haven't played that much. I tried playing chess as a kid. Like I went to a chess club once and just got thoroughly trashed. And then played, maybe a dozen times at home, if that. That's pretty good. So I think we can go back and glue those down, but I'm going to need to take a moment to wash out my brushes. So I'll be back in just a few minutes, and I'll answer your question, RF, about how I decide which project to do each week. So I will be right back. Okay, that wasn't too bad, time-wise. So my brushes are all nice and washed, nice and taken care of. Put those back in the container. And we're going to switch over, just move the black pieces out of the way while they're drying, shift the red pieces over, so we can start working on them. I decide on which projects I'm going to work on each week by scrolling through Instructables.com and looking for cool projects on there. They have lots of crafts and woodworking and all sorts of cool things there. And I use those as a basis. Not everything is directly from that, in the sense, 1 second, I need another glove. So I'm not following Instructables, one by one, but they'll give me ideas and I'll work on those ideas. So, I started over here and worked my way over here. So these are the most dry. We're going to start there, and I'm going to need, I think what I'll start with is getting all the pieces I need. So there's, so we need pawns, a bunch of pawns. I probably should have, so these are 3D printed little pieces, little symbols. So I'm going to get 5 pawns. And then we have a king and a queen. Gotta have those. And then a rook and a knight And where are the bishops? It's the bishop. There's a bishop. All right. So we're starting there. And I'm going to make this very easy. I don't know how well this is going to go. I'm just going to take this one, clean off a little bit. There's a little bit of, I don't know if you can see it, but on the side there, no, there's some extra plastic. So I just need to, as part of the 3D printing process, there's just a few little like shards of plastic that are left over. So I'm just going to scrape those off. And then I'm going to apply glue. It's going to be interesting. Apply glue to this side. A little extra plastic to get off there. Yeah. And this is just good old super glue. Apply some super glue to one side. Place it down on the piece. Probably should have done this with my right hand. Okay. Whoops. There it goes. There's our first piece. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's grab the queen. Trim off anything we don't want. That looks pretty good. Again, put some super glue. And basically a line. And then that on there, and then adjust position. Oops. I'm just gonna, okay. I'm gonna press that down for a few moments. Okay. Our rook. I think I want him, yeah, that way. Will be the underside. Just glue that on there. And then being very careful not to get the glue on my hand. Oops. Trying to line that up. That looks pretty good. Woo! Pretty good to me. Stick that down there. This looks pretty nice, pretty elegant. Keep on gluing. Obviously, if you don't have a 3D printer, this becomes a little more difficult, but you could just paint or draw the symbols on there. I say just, but yeah, that is an option. I might do, well, no. Or you could even like print on paper the various designs. That would work just fine. You put them onto cardstock. Okay, whoops. And then the bishop. Thanks, yeah, I'm liking it too so far. So far. Yeah, I think I want that as the underside. The other nice thing is, again, if this goes poorly, he chose poorly. It is not difficult to replace a piece or make new pieces or whatever. You know, if this is a complete failure, I'm out $3 or something. All right, so there's my royals. Push that down for a few more moments. Probably would not have been a bad idea to do that for the others. Oh well. And now our pawns. I probably should have printed the pawns a little smaller because they look kind of huge, but oh well. Because pawns are supposed to be small pieces, but I printed them all basically the same size. Such is life. Yeah, I may end up coming back and redoing all the pawn pieces, but that's not hard. I do like chess pieces and general board games where the pieces aren't just, if it's two players, it isn't just black and white. You know, there's some variation in the color as opposed to just here a bunch of white pieces, here a bunch of black pieces. I mean, obviously you can make black and white pieces look great, but in general, I do appreciate it when you get something that contrast, that big old bright red. Looks awfully nice. So 2 more pawns. Do. And of course, these pieces are not fully the same size, not exact. And you can probably tell that with these 2 pieces, because you notice how this is much smaller. You know, the pawn is much smaller than this one, which means that this wooden piece is bigger than this one. And that is just the factor of the facet of getting cheap pieces from a craft store, right? These are just sort of random things. I think the entire bag was like $2.50 for all of these little Scrabble-esque pieces. Okay, got a little bit of extra glue on there, which I'm not happy with, but it's all right. Not the worst thing in the world. Okay, so there's the beginning of that. When you look at my black pieces, those look pretty dried. Cool. Yeah, I think I can do the same thing. All right. Now again, we swap things around. That looks pretty good. And then, again, we need... I printed some extras here as well, just in case. So we need the bishop. I've been watching a lot of Monty Python recently. Well, not a lot, but a significant amount. Rook, and we need a queen. There we go. Oh, and one more pawn. Okay, and I see a little piece coming off of the rook there. I don't know if you can see that little tag I want to remove. Again, just sort of a result of the 3D printing process. Sometimes you get these little tags. I have a favorite abstract board game. That's a great question. I do like chess a lot. Played a fair amount of backgammon, which I rather enjoy. Haven't played it in years, though. Okay. Let's see, what else? Tsuro, which is a more modern abstract board game. I mean, there's a theme to it, but it's really an abstract game. I like Tsuro a lot. I mean, it's very simple conceptually, but it's easy and fun. I do think I will probably go back and paint the edges of these. I think they will look better. Let me just show you. So there's that queen piece, and you can see how the edges, and especially because I got a little bit of red on the edges. So like I don't think this is terrible, but I would rather have red all the way around. Don't need it on the bottom, but I think that would look better. So yeah, Tsuro is one of my favorites. How about you guys? You guys have a favorite abstract board game? I do admit I do like checkers, which a lot of folks kind of give up on post, I don't know, 13 years old or so. But I find checkers actually has a not insignificant amount of interest to it. It's a little like Tsuro, actually, where like it's okay. You're very limited in your. It's not hugely strategically complicated, but there's just enough there to make it interesting. There's that queen. And the bishop. Yeah, I don't know. But I like a lot of different kinds of board games. I'm being a little over or under cautious with placing these with bare fingers, but I'm not too worried. Like I'm being pretty careful about application of the glue, not going to the sides much, just getting a bunch of glue on the interior, so I can then grasp it by the edges and place it. But this could easily, like right there, could easily turn into disaster. Ooh, it actually does not want to cooperate. Oops. Spin. There. Oops. Spin. Can we spin it? A little bit? Yeah, good. That's better. I do like the look of this, I admit. Santorini. I have not played Santorini. I'm intrigued. So this one got a little bit bent as it came out of the 3D printer. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm going to try to, and it's very thin. So I'm going to try to lay that down. I should probably do. Hold this. And then squeeze out the glue with the other hand. And then I can just place it. Yeah, that's better. That's much more reasonable. Just pushing that down for a few moments to get the glue to adhere. All right. Yep. So again, we want this here. We apply the glue carefully. Don't need to be super fast on this. And then place it. Trying to be fairly straight. Make sure it's, straight up and down. I confess I've not had much of a chance to play board games of late. My normal board game friends are more, we generally play role-playing games when we do get a chance to get together. We should do like a board game night. I should organize that. I don't have a lot of opportunity to do that in the coming months because of just, vacations and trips and such. Conventions. Got a couple conventions coming up. So, let's see, that gets down there. 2 more pawns. And we've got our black pieces done. I might also throw on, like, a coat of varnish or something. Just to give these an extra bit of flair. Just to add something. I also might... No, I think that'd be too difficult. I was going to say I might... get some really brilliant white paint and slather it on the pieces themselves, but I don't think that's going to actually look good. It's funny. This looks wrong, but it's actually right. Looks off kilter from the view. All right, and then one final pawn, and we'll have all of our black and red pieces done, and then I can look at doing that leather board, leather playing mat, basically. And I have some extra pieces, and that's okay. Again, not distressed by that. Okay. I did end up getting a little bit of red on this guy. Can I just scrape that off? Yes, I can. Good. A little bit of red paint got stuck on him, and actually a little bit. No, that's just okay. Alrighty. So there are our black pieces ready to go, and our red pieces right next to it. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's just move these off to the side. And we will investigate the playing board. All right. And I can remove this. I don't think, I'm not going to need anything more on that score. So let's grab one of these scrap pieces and leather and just kind of get a feeling for this. I think these are like 3/4 of an inch. Let's grab a ruler to find out. I can move some things back now too. So we'll grab a ruler. So these are, we'll start. So yeah, they're about 1 3/4 inches. Very approximately, or about 20 centimeters. So if I had, so I would want squares at about 25 centimeters wide, maybe 30, because of the size of the stitch, right? You want a little bit of extra play there, for that. So yeah, something about 30 inches wide, which is, I believe, a little over an inch. Yeah, that makes it like an 1.25 inches. So I think what I might do is mark out with chalk that. And actually, no, what I should do instead. So it's a 5x6 board, which means 150 by 180. So what I should probably do is just cut out my board, cut out a chunk of this bigger than I would need for the board. So I have it. Ooh, actually, look at this. Yeah, good. So this is actually kind of nice. So I said 3 times 5 is 150, and 3 times 6 is 180. Yeah, so this is plenty big. It's good. So I'm going to cut this out. Scissors. So I happen to have this, I don't know if you can see this. So this happens to be just an edge, a corner. So I'm going to just cut that right out. And I'll trim it once I've got my board sewed onto it. But that'll be my starting point. And that's, like 220 by 220 roughly. So that's got, plenty on each side. Good. Probably what I'll end up doing is folding over each edge and then sewing that just to give it, a nice clean edge. But I can get started here. So probably what I should do is measure. So I've got 240 here, and I've got a little less there. So I should probably make this the long side. And so let me grab some chalk, which should be right over here. Yep. And what I'll do is I'm going to make a mark in the center, and that'll be my center line. And I'll probably sew that. So to speak. Well, first off, let's find this center. It's a little uneven. 230 divided in half would be 115. So we will make a mark at 115. And then we're going to go off of that. I'm going to go down. So this is 240. So at 120, I'm going to make another mark. I'm going to make basically a plus right there. All right. So no, that plus is the center of this piece of fabric. So if we're going to go 180 by 150, then I can just do this. I can say there's 150. Half of that is 75. So if I put this here, and I appear to be fairly square, that's a bit scary. I should probably measure that. So this is what? 125. So I'm going to go out here and mark 125. And go out here and mark 125. Is that? Did I mark it 120? Oh, no. Hold on. That's 120. Right, it should be 120. Which is one of the reasons we use chalk. Okay, so go out here and do 120. Go out here. And do 120. And then we're going to go here. Again, it needs to be 150, centered on 75. You will even these out. So I know that's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to remove that. Ooh, oops. A bit of red paint on that. There we go. Move that. And then I'm going to draw a line all the way down here. So that is my center line. So I need to have a stitch that fills in that exact chalk line. And I'm going to do the same thing here, actually. So 180, half 180 is 90. So we do this. We align it on that chalk line there. So we know where that is. I'm going to go from 0 all the way down to exactly 180. I'm going to stop right there. Okay. So if I sew down these lines, then I just have to march off of this, at intervals. So I'll have another one here, another one here, another one here, 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 and then here and here, here and here, and that should be all I need. All right, so I think we know what we're doing there. Let's prepare the sewing machine, which unfortunately is going to need some preparation, because it's prepped for black thread, not white. So this is my sewing machine. Adorable, isn't it? It's literally that big. But I need to change out the bobbin because it has all black thread. So I'm just going to remove all that thread. I can actually reuse this for another project. Whoa! So that's good. I'm sewing patches on a bag, and this black thread will be good for that. Actually, I have another. This does not come with bobbins. It might. One moment. I think. Yes, it does. Good. Okay. Oh, it comes with a. Hey, look at this. Okay, so I'm going to rewind that bobbin because I don't need to unthread it because the machine comes with some spare bobbins. The fact you make a point to create, not to consume, is inspiring. Is habit conscious ever something you just catch yourself doing, creating? Both. Thank you, RF, by the way. As a kid, I always liked to tell stories. I had a lot of action figures, and I'd tell stories, make up stories with those action figures. And I'd write, after reading Lord of the Rings, I wrote a bad teen fantasy novel, which I think everyone has a bad teen fantasy novel in them somewhere. And then my parents were very creative. Like my mom loved to sew, so she sewed a lot of things. She liked to try out, and so she would sew clothes and things like that. Now, we were not one of these families where everything we wore was something that my mom made. She wasn't that obsessed with it. She wasn't, it wasn't like, oh, I refuse to buy clothes. But it was nice. Oh, that's nice and tangled. Okay, well, I can get a fair amount of it back on. So, and then my dad, built the house I grew up in. He had a carpentry job out of college, and then went on to doing, government work, desk job work. That sounds dismissive. I don't mean it that way, but just that's what he ended up doing. Very good for him. And with that carpentry knowledge, he was able to, do home construction. So he built pretty much all of the house I grew up in. He certainly framed it and built all that. He didn't do the plumbing or the electrical work because he didn't know how to do that yet. Okay, but I will need to wind. Okay, cool. Okay. So this again, very nicely, they provide a bobbin with some white thread there, but I will need to wind up some white thread onto another bobbin. So you pull that out. And let me see here. It's been a while since I did this. That goes there, and then this, I can pop you out. In fact, let's just go ahead and pop you out. How does that? There's a. How do you remove the thing? I don't want the thing, I want to remove the thing. So there's a bobbin here on the side you need to pop off. And I think I just pop it off. Yeah, okay. But before I do that, I need to wind this with white thread. And I know I had some white thread around here somewhere. There it is. So I might just do this manually, because I need to do that, and then this comes out as I recall. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this manually. So, but yeah, I've always been kind of creative in the sense of just I like making stuff. Oh, and then like growing up, I was a kid from the '80s, so we all had Transformers, which by the way is not an overstatement. Literally every boy I knew owned Transformers toys. They all had boxes of Transformers toys. Didn't matter how much money their parents had. Didn't matter whatever. If you were a boy between the ages of like 6 and 14, you owned Transformers. That was how big that was. Yeah, absolutely ubiquitous. So I would cut out paper boxes basically, and I would fasten them together with like brads so they could spin and move, and I would make little Transformers just out of paper. And that was a lot of fun. Very interesting to kind of figure out how to combine shapes in those ways. People thought that was pretty cool. And I did magic tricks. I always liked doing magic. Didn't get much beyond basic tricks, but also a creative thing because you had to figure out your pattern, figure out how you would construct a magic show. I actually put on a magic show when I was a kid for the neighborhood kids. That was fun, like a 10-minute act. So yeah, and I was not a very I was a very quiet kid, very shy kid, always reading science fiction and such. So it was really my parents that were pushing me to do that stuff with neighborhood kids and such. I always had one or two friends growing up. We'd hang out, but definitely more of a quiet kid. So yeah, again, I know there's some way of doing this with the sewing machine, but I would have to pull out all the instructions and figure all that stuff out. And I don't want to really waste our time here when I could just wind up some thread. And I shouldn't need too much for this. He said, hopefully. So, although actually this is going to be, well, yeah, so I might, we'll see. Yeah, not too much, because I can actually kind of tell, so I could wind these in and get a sense just from I could measure out how many centimeters I need, and then look at the thread. And I need extra because it's going in and out and all that, but you can get a ballpark idea. But yeah, we'll just wind for a few more moments and then put it all in there and do our sewing. Also got to see, am I plugged in? Do I have my? Not quite sure where the power thing is for the sewing machine. Sure, it's around here somewhere. So we'll get this done, and that should be good. Okay. Actually, looking at my patches. No, I don't really have any patches that will benefit from white thread. But I have some spares, some spare color sitting around. I got a little. It's actually quite useful to buy. They have these little containers that have, I don't know, 12 different colors of thread, some needles, a few other things like that. It's actually really handy to buy one of those things, so that in case something happens to a shirt, a button pops off, you can just sew the button back on. It is a useful thing to have. And so I just have some spare thread for that. And, again, for things like, red thread or green thread, I don't want to have a bunch of, I don't want to buy a bunch of green thread. I'm not going to use a bunch of green thread, but it's nice to have a little bit of that green thread. Okay, so that goes there. Oops. I believe that loads from under there. So I'm just going to load. Oops, no, wrong way. So this gets pushed on here. And then the thread goes through. It basically needs to be sort of held taut by this piece here. So it goes through a little coil there. A little coily. No springs. There's a very obscure joke. I apologize. And this goes down here. There we are. If anyone knows where that came from, I'd be very impressed. No springs. Okay, then this goes in here, which should keep it taut. And then it goes down into another thing. Hold it in place, and then oops. And then it goes, then I have to thread the needle, quite literally. So one moment, this is kind of not something you can actually see because of cameras and such, but I'm just threading that through the needle, and that goes there. And then I need to get the thread from under there, which, did that work? Maybe? Nope. I forget how I actually thread that. Ah, getting something. No, but I think I need to. Yeah, hold on. Stand by. Nope. Oh, I see something happening. Come on. Ah, there we are. Cool. Okay. Sorry again, I don't have a great way of showing you that. Camera. Oh, no, shoot. Dang it. Hold on. Keep this taut. Then it should engage that. And it'll come up. And I should be able to pull it out. Nope. Dang it. Oh, it's caught. Dang it. Hold on. Doesn't want to engage. There's a bit there. That's that. Hi, what's happening? Hold on. I gotta. And if you. Okay, I gotta pull that out. And then pull this through. Okay. Hold on. Grr, arg. This is gonna go in here. I spin the thing while holding that taut, and that should go down, go around, grab that thread, and pull it through, I said. Ah, okay. Yeah, and then I pull that, there it comes. There we are. Okay, sorry about that. Again, it's one of those things that takes some time to process. Okay. And then we should be good to go. Okay. So let me plug it in. Is that it? Is that the power? No. Is that the power? No. Where is the power? There's the power. Just disentangle it from this giant set of cables. All right. That took long enough. Well done, Gorilla. MST3K indeed was the thing. All right. So. Get that ready to go. All right. So, where were we? We have this. We're going to sew down each of these lines to get our center line. And then we will sew off of that for the rest of our lines of the board. So we're just going to put this in here and kind of curl it. Clamp down. Put the needle right on top of that. And then hopefully, what do I got this at? I'm not sure. Okay. So there's our line. And get the underline. That's pretty good. I'm okay with that. Did that? Oh, it didn't shoot. Wait, what? Did that not? It didn't actually sew. Oh, it kind of sewed. Not very well. Interesting. Okay. I got some lines, but not a lot. Makes me a little suspicious, but let me get a bit more to go there. Yeah, okay, it's not. All right, let's do another one. See what happens. And then well, the thread came out. Okay, that sucks. Did I get anything there? I got a few. And then it died. Okay, but I can fix that. Hold on. The thread skipped out of the needle partway through, so I just need to continue where I left off. Again, frustrating, but not something I can't recover from. If I can just thread the needle. Does not want to thread, which is a fairly common problem. Let's take off a bit more. Oh, the thread's very unhappy. There we go. Yeah, okay. Oops. Let's pull a bit more out. I think it wasn't tight enough before. We're gonna assume that's the case and continue. All right. Do we have any? Yeah, we have a few stitches there, so I'm gonna start with halfway down. Sit down. It's still up. It's still good. Oh. I'm getting, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm getting, there's a couple stitches there, a couple stitches there, a couple stitches there. So it's getting a few in, but that's it. It's weird. It's just not letting thread in. So let me try going a little tighter on that, see if that helps. I don't mind doing these lines a few times. And of course I got plenty of other fabric, so, you know, it's not like if this doesn't work, I can't do anything else. Are we good to go on everything else? Anything else? No, I don't think I have any other options here, really. Let's try to change the... Whoops, hold on. Thread bounced right out, so that's not good. All right. Is that still working? What is that? Okay, bit of extra thread. So let's make it a little looser. Okay, so I've got it, you know, so that's providing some tension, but not a lot. And we'll rethread the needle. This sewing machine is fairly new. Well, it is very new to me. I just use it to finish out a tablet laptop bag maybe like 2 weeks ago. So still not sure how all of its settings should be. Okay. And push that through. Okay. See if that helps. I've had that problem a lot, actually, with my other sewing machine, my inherited sewing machine, that it just wasn't happy. Now, I got a fair number of stitches there, actually, so I'm going to try on the other side, where it also is kind of unhappy, and do some down there. Let's do another row, a whole another row all the way down. Oop, see, yep, pulled right out. Okay. Yeah, it pulled it out of the machine. Jeez. Okay. So that could also be the thread. I've done a little bit of Googling on this, and there are any number of reasons that can happen. But like they say, cheap thread can kind of jump out of a machine. Which I don't know. I'm not sure how much I believe of that. Oh, shoot. You know what? I threaded this wrong. I just realized it's supposed to come down through another part of the sewing machine. Okie doke. Hold on. Yeah, that might be a factor. Maybe making it go the way it's supposed to go will make it work. Just spitballing here. Okay. And we'll pull through a bit more. That's fairly taut. How taut is that? Okay, that. All right, let's try there. Let's try. Gentle pressure. All right, yeah, I want more in here. Also feels like the bottom isn't sewing at all, even though it's come through, which is strange. Like it's clearly threaded. I should double check that, but for now, let's do some more. Lesson from this is sewing is hard. Well, it's not hard when everything. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Something's unhappy. It's not hard when everything's set up right. Oh gosh. What the heck? Did I not? Oh, no. That's my fault. I screwed that up. Come on up. There. Okay, that's totally my fault. So there's this thing that goes up and down, and I forgot to thread it through that. So yeah, it's not gonna sew at all if it can't get that up and down action. So that's my fault. That explains it. That explains almost certainly it. Because that action is literally the sewing action. Like that is the in and out of the sewing machine. Also getting a little low on my thread there. I've kind of wasted a lot of thread with these mistakes, so I may have to go back and do another bobbin. Get some more thread. Put this in there. Thread the needle, which sometimes just works, and other times just doesn't. But that worked good. A little bit more. Okay. Alrighty. Now, let's see if fixing all these mistakes will lead to success. Like I said, I'm going to go the entire route down until I double stitch it. See what happens. That's beautiful. Look at that. Yeah. Okay. So in other words, yeah. Okay. So that's what I'm looking for. That beautiful line down there. This other line is not great. So instead of just trying to kind of hold out, let's like really do this. I may just, I'm going to pull out that run from the back of this. So I'm just pulling out, because I just got little bits and pieces there that just really aren't holding. There. Okay. So I'm going to redo that stitch. I need a bit more thread, but it's still there. I just need a little bit extra to work with. And then let's redo that line. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, like I said, that was just me being ignorant. Oops. Okay. Cool. So now we're cooking with gas. So there's our lines for our board. So now what we're going to do is mark out. So we're going at 30 centimeter things. And let's just check this out. So we want, it's going to be like this again. So there are pieces. I'm going to actually lay out a board here. Actually, we'll do, yeah. So here's one line, and here's another line. Yeah, this is going to work out nicely. So this is the basic idea of our board. And then, 2 empty rows, and then the rows of the other side. Cool. All right, I'm happy with that. So now what we do is, instead of going to the edges, I'm going to go to the lines. Come on. I'm going to go 30 centimeters out from the main. So there's 30. There's 30. And then I'm going to do, again, exactly 150. Oh, actually, look at that. The ruler is precisely the distance I need. That's really convenient. So the ruler is basically 150 centimeters. I'm sorry, it's 30 centimeters. So I can just do that. That's really convenient. Oops. Something I wish I'd realized before I started. Okay. So again, I'm just going to sew down those lines and then stop there and just keep on doing these down each of the rows. So I'm never going to get too far off the too far off plumb, if you will, hopefully. Whoops, hold on. It undid itself. Okay. Again, not sure why that happens, but it does. So let me rethread. Come on down here. There we are. And then it goes down in this thing. There we are. Okay. And then we cut off a little bit from the end, because inevitably the end of phrase. And then I'm going to wet that and thread it through the needle, or the eye of the needle, I should say. At least try to. There it goes. And then put it back. All right, I'm going to actually get a bit more. Yeah. All right. Trying again. Not a big deal. All right. Yep, that's beautiful. There. I do like the white on black. That's pretty elegant. Obviously, these are not, really perfect kind of stitches or anything. Sure there are better ways of doing this, but following that line all the way down. Boop. And boop. And boop. And you do end up listening, with some bunch of extra thread, but that's kind of natural. Do more hiking videos soon. That's a great idea. I would not at all mind doing that. Oh, I kind of messed up there. Okay. So let's do. I'm kind of feeling like doing. Yeah. Now I'm gonna do these here. So I went a little bit off on that. So let's try to make it fairly even. We want to be exact as we can. So let me pull back a little bit there. Trying to get as close as possible. There we go. It's weird. Sometimes the chalk just does not want to go down, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Okay. And then we come out similarly. 180. No, come on. There we are. So there's clearly something to how you move the chalk along the thing. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna do that, and just try to be as even as possible as we go down. I'm going slower than before, and that definitely seems to help. I'm getting kind of low on thread, actually, like legit. So, and I'll trim up all of this thread in a bit. Not too worried right now. We will do this. Make sure we have a good amount. Okay. Do the other side. I'm also not too great. Well, actually, that's pretty good. Trying to make sure these are fairly even, that they end at the same point as well. I probably it wouldn't have been a bad idea to chalk out the entire grid, now that I think about it, but oh well. Yeah, next time I would do that. I just chalk out the entire grid. And then, again, if it's wrong, you just remove the chalk. Okay. And fix it. But then you can do kind of all of it at once. That makes sense. Live and learn. But I do like what I see so far. Although I'm a bit worried. I may be a bit off on this. The worst I've ever had. So this should be... What? Shoot! I just realized something. It's 6 by 5, which means there's no center point. There's no point in the center. It would be over here. Right? So these are all wrong. Oops. Because I need 5 along. Yeah, this is all wrong. Oopsie. Okay. Well, that's a shame. Again, it would not be hard to get another piece of fabric, mark it out, and then sew it. But I'm also low on thread. So we're going to stop here today. I'm not frustrated or anything. It's just one of those things where it's going to take another probably hour to get the thread back, get enough thread to redo the entire thing, chalk it out, and do it. And I think you get a good idea here of the idea. And again, here's a good example where I should have chalked it out, so I'd be able to see, oh yeah, 5 by 6. Fair enough. So yeah. Actually, I can fix... No, I can't fix this because I already have this bisecting. So this is going to end up going, to the edges, and there will be bits on the edge. I can't just shift it over because then I'll have lines either here or on here. So yeah. But I think you get the idea. Chalk it out, then just stitch all of those things. And actually, the nice thing about chalking it out is you can just do the entire thing, as one operation. Go down, spin it, go down, spin it, and you can get sort of everything that way. But yeah, that's a mistake on my part. But yeah, if you want to do this, that's all you have to do. And then let's check this next bit out. So let's pretend this is correct. And And let me actually just go ahead. And again, we'll kind of pretend that I've trimmed it, that I've sewn under. So what I would do to finish this out is I would swap out to black thread, sew the, fold this over, and then sew, just sew down that corner and just do that on all four sides. So that would just, finish it off. But let's look at what we have and pretend we're done and go from there. So here are all our pieces with our weird numbers on the other side. I could also imagine myself like painting this side something, but whatever. So here are all our pieces. And so let's imagine, I'm going to flip that over, all this extra thread. Thanks, RF. I've learned patience with these projects, otherwise you just go insane. So I put this here, and it obviously it'd be a little bit shorter. Then I would just be able to, actually you probably want to do it like this. Put them here, and then you just roll it up. How hard is that? I'm finding out now. And I want some way of sealing the ends. So maybe I would, I don't know what I'd use to seal the ends that wouldn't, I don't want to bind them. And obviously this wouldn't go quite as easily because you'd have those edges. So those sewed over edges would be fairly stiff. So I'd probably end up being pretty cylindrical. So what I'd ideally want to do is make some kind of end caps that would go over the ends. So I might actually, again, if I were doing this fully, I would basically make a cylinder out of fabric and then a circle, sew the circle onto there, and then just slide that onto this end, do the same thing on here, slide it onto that end, so it becomes this kind of carrying case for the board game. And you could even, if you want to be even fancier, then like tie a cord to that, so it would actually be a handle, basically. That's probably what I'd do. So that's going to be my challenge. Maybe next week I will do that. Next week we will finish this out by doing a proper, a proper board, and then we make fasteners for either end. Essentially, again, cylinders with caps, all out of the same material, and we'll try to sew that together and see what it looks like. And we'll try that. So that'll be the plan for next Wednesday. Hope you will join me next Wednesday for Workshop Wednesday, where we'll finish out this. In the meantime, just get a sense of how these look. Gotta admit, that's pretty snazzy. I'm not displeased with that kind of a thing for our Workshop Wednesday. Good progress was made, and like I said, next week we will try to finish this out. So thanks all for watching, and until next week, again, thanks for all the conversation in the chat room. As always, that's useful. Until next week, make something.